Okay. So good evening, and thank you so much for coming. What I'd like to do is just kind of welcome you all and thank you all for giving up your time. There's so many of you I know that are busy and have so many different things to do. This is our semester annual. We have two a year in the fall and in the spring. So this is our, well, it says summer online meeting, but it should say spring. That's my error. I guess I'm just wishing it was summer. So um, we've got a nice group of people this evening. We have a couple of our liaisons that are going to be leaving us because they're going to graduate in spring. So we've got some new liaisons who are kind of overlapping and joining us. And then we have two Dr. Carlos Azcoitias, senior and junior. We're going to have just kind of an idea of where we're going. We'll do some introductions. I'll stop screen sharing. We'll go around the screen and just kind of give a quick introduction of your name and where you work. The liaisons are going to take us through some of the first generation resources that are available here at North Central. And then we have the most important part of the evening, our guest speaker. And then we'll have time for questions and answers with Dr. Escoitia or for anyone that you would have questions with. So um, let's first of all, Tatiana, I'll let you introduce yourself as our senior liaison.
Good evening. It's nice to see you all joining us this evening. My name is Tatiana Barakat. I am a 7th and 8th grade ELA teacher at Wilkins Junior High in the southwest suburbs in Justice, Illinois. I received my bachelor's from Benedictine University, not too far from North Central, actually. It's my 8th year teaching at Wilkins Junior High. I am actually finishing up my internship right now and in educational leadership and starting my capstone with Dr. Spellman very soon. So I'm looking forward to that. It's been a ride, but my experience at North Central has been absolutely pleasant and amazing. And it's been so nice to network with other people and meet others. I'm currently also a team leader and school improvement team member and teacher mentor at my school district. It's nice to be here with you guys.
Thanks, Tatiana. Let's see if I can get this to move. I'm going to skip Brianna in case she joins us a little later, and we'll go on to Meredith.
Hello, I'm Meredith Barrett. I teach SEL, so social emotional learning, to students in kindergarten through fifth grade. I'm in Bensenville, Illinois at W.A. Johnson School, and I've been here for the past 11 years. I received my bachelor's in arts for elementary education from Northeastern Illinois University. I also have a middle school endorsement in social science, and ELA. I am in my first year at North Central's Master's Program for Educational Leadership. At my school, I'm a PBIS leader, and I formed and lead the Climate and Culture Committee, and I am also a teacher mentor. So it's good to be here with all of you.
Thanks, Meredith. And we have Isabel.
Hi, I'm Isabel Recco. I'm a social studies and EL teacher at Plainfield East High School, which is Plainfield District 202. This is my third year teaching, so I'm kind of new to like a lot of things. I ended up going back to school to get my EL endorsement, whereas I attended St. Francis. Before that, I was at Illinois State, where I got my bachelor's of the history, social science, secondary ed. And then now, like everybody else, I am at North Central to get my master's in educational leadership. Within the school, I'm the assistant dance coach, and I also help assist with student council. I do a lot of extra things here and there. I'm a part of some committees just because of being in the internship currently. But yeah, it's really fun, very busy schedule, but I wouldn't ask for anything else.
Thank you. Okay. So what I thought we would do is, if it's all right with you, we'll just do a little quick around and have people introduce themselves, and just a little bit about, where you are in the program and what your professional role is right now. So, how about Serene? Would you like to start?
Sure. My name is Serene Hassan. I am an EL teacher in Orland School District 135. This is my 15th year teaching. I received my bachelor's degree from St. Xavier, I received a master's degree from Lewis University, and now I'm on to my next master's degree at North Central. Um, this is my third class, Mr. Koitia, and I'm loving it so far. I'm it's really, I was talking to, this cohort is amazing. I've built relationships and really, I can't wait for like the next class and the class after that because I feel like I've learned so much. So I'm grateful for the program.
Thanks, Serene.
No problem.
Michelle, how about you?
Hello, everyone. I am also in Tatiana's district, so Indian Springs 109 in Justice, Illinois. This is my third year in the district, but this is my 26th year in the classroom. I believe that this is the eighth school that I have taught in, not because I'm an unstable person or not an employable person, but because my husband is a pastor. And so we have moved often during our marriage. And so that has led me to have a variety of experiences as a teacher in rural districts to districts that are in the city or near the city. Some are more functional than others. But I feel like I've had a trial by fire experience a lot of ways by having to adjust and learn new ways of doing things, policies and procedures, things like that in multiple districts. So I definitely value that experience. The fact that I was able to get a position at Indian Springs is why I'm also in the program. It just fit the way that they reimburse teachers for the program, and the timing in my life worked. And so that's why I'm here kind of later in my career. But I agree that the relationships that you form and the support that you get from everybody across the board is invaluable. And I am so impressed with North Central and how they really prepare you for what's coming next. I feel like the first class prepares you for the next class, and the ethical dilemmas all along the way. Sorry, my dog is playing with her squeaky toy. Everything just is a progression that makes sense and prepares you. And I just appreciate that so much. I was talking to one of our other teachers after school today, and he is in a program at a different school. And I just found it very interesting how they approach the ethical dilemmas compared to how we do it. They have two scenarios they have to choose from in the ethical dilemma. They give them the scenario. We formulate the scenario and think for ourselves. And I appreciated that so much that we were given that experience. So I just am happy to be finishing up because of all the work, but I also feel like I've grown and learned so much through the program. So I'm very grateful.
And I did not pay her to say that, honestly. Chantel.
Hello, I'm Chantel Wyndham. I was in the classroom for 14, 15 years on the southeast side of Chicago. I am currently in central office. I'm a science content specialist for K-5, so I do professional learning for the entire district in Chicago. This is just an amazing program and opportunity. I did the video today for one of our classmates to one of the state representatives and to Governor Pritzker for funding I forgot our name. We got a new name. Armika, help me out. What's our name?
Future Leaders Advocacy Program.
Thank you. So for funding the program for several of us. And a lot of times you get funding for something, you're like, oh, thank you, I appreciate it. But I actually kind of choked up today trying to do my video because this is my third master's. And last year I was fortunate enough to get all student loans paid off. And I wanted this so bad. I wanted the opportunity to go into getting educational leadership, the degree. But I was like, but I don't want any more loans. I have a 20-year-old in college and I have a 9-year-old. And I have all these gray hairs. So I'm saving for college and paying for college. And it just so happened, they say when you're in the right place at the right time, this opportunity was like thrown at me, and not to just throw God in there, but it's like it was a calling. It was like, hey, I'm putting it out here for you. So I am very thankful. And in the program, it's just crazy. Our cohort, I have a sisterhood. And my sisterhood, we are different nationalities, we're different colors, we're different religions, and we have each other's back. I mean, we're texting late at night. Did you help with your assignment? What can I do? Hey, I heard your mom was sick. Can we meet for lunch? I mean, we're a big group. And so just to have that, I feel like I'm in this North Central sorority within our cohort, but we truly take care of one another the way I think I always wanted to take care of my students. Their academics, their social, emotional, we check in on one another, all of that. And it's crazy to see Professor and his dad with some of the same movements. At one point, you had your hands on the opposite side. So just watching that. So we're gonna ask your dad everything, just so you know. We want all the secrets and the tips.
Don't ask him too much now.
Too late. You shouldn't have brought him. But thank you. Glad to meet you all.
Thanks. Armika, how about you? Just a quick intro?
Hello, everyone. My name is Armika Tony, and I am a 17-year veteran in District 148. Currently, I'm an 8th grade science teacher. I am a site liaison / coach for Girls on the Run. I am a Caption Kids Are Process champion and a school leadership team, and I'm a job coach. But overall, like Chantel said, I feel the same way. I actually sat next to somebody at a program at a event, only for them to lead me to where I'm at now. And I really didn't think that this was happening, but I said God has a joke, because I'm not going back to school unless it's free. And then he gets the last joke, and I laugh. So I said, okay, God, this is what you want me to do. This is what I'm going to do for you. So I am grateful that the people that I'm working with in our cohort are amazing. They keep us on our toes. They keep us thinking. They keep us with the reminders. They're so supportive. I am truly grateful that I just found them at the right place at the right time. Thank you for Dr. Spellman for being our nurturing professor at the beginning to get us ready for our classes prior to. I think you really helped us get us ready, because I think without that support at the beginning, we wouldn't be where we're at now, or not as nervous as we were at the beginning. So thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. And to all my cohort, we're doing this. I'm really proud of us. I'm proud of us. We are doing a fantastic job.
Marissa. Can't hear you. Nope. Uh-oh. You can hear us, right? Okay. I think Marissa is going to restart her computer. Okay, we'll catch you back later then. All right, well, wait before you do that, because I want to take a photo of everybody. So just hang on for a minute. We'll skip over to Mira. Is that all right, Mira? Quick introduction.
Hi, I'm Mira. Sorry, I just got here. The traffic is insane today in Chicago. Oh my gosh, it rains and people act like we have never lived in Chicago. It snows, people act like we haven't lived in Chicago. But I'm Mira. I'm here. Honestly, I was a foster kid. I raised myself. I'm a party of one, I always say. So like there's no mom, there's no dad, brothers, uncle, aunts, just me. Not married, no kids. And I feel really fortunate because I've always had a strong work ethic and had a bajillion jobs. So that's how I've always had an opportunity, as someone just seeing me work really hard and working my 80th job of the day. And that's how I ended up in this program. My math coach she actually was working with me and saw me on all these different committees and leading like the PBIS committee and student council, as well as the staff social club. And she was like, we need people that are out of the box, that aren't traditional leaders, that really can build communities. And so I'm here. It's been super intense because when you're a party of one, there's no one to do the chores for you or cook if you fall behind because of assignments. And I'm also a bartender. So it has been a very intense journey, but I feel fortunate to have a really good cohort.
Absolutely. Well, all of you need to make a big smile now so I can take a picture. Do one more. There we go. All right. Thank you very much. Well, we're going to let Carlos Jr. can introduce himself a little bit, but I think most everyone knows him, but just in case, a quick one. And then we'll get to you, Carlos Sr., when we get to your slide. How's that? Because you got a long story to tell and a great story to tell.
Well, it's great to see everybody. I'm fortunate to see some of you 2 nights in a row, so that's awesome. I'm just so honored to be part of the North Central community. I'm an elementary school principal in the Indian Prairie School District at Collishaw Elementary School in Naperville, Illinois. This is my 18th year as a principal, so I've been a principal in the Chicago Public Schools, in the Bensenville School District, which we've got Bensenville and CPS on the call, and now I'm here in Indian Prairie. I've had the privilege of being an adjunct professor with a few different universities over the years, and it's a passion of mine. I'm a teacher at heart, and I love to teach and to talk about leadership, to talk about matters of equity and social justice, and it is my calling and it is my passion. And you know what they say, if you love what you do, then you don't work a day in your life. And I truly love being a principal, and I truly love facilitating learning of adult learners, and have a particular passion for those who aspire to leadership roles such as the principalship. I've learned a lot over the years, so I think I have a lot of practical wisdom to impart. And North Central has just been a great institution to partner with so that I could still get my teacher fix on. So I'm really glad to see everybody. And I say I've been an educator, 25 years, principal for 18 years, but I've been trained to be an educational leader ever since I was a teenager because of my dad, who's on the call, and my mom. They were both administrators. And there was a period of time where my dad was a central office administrator, pretty high up in the organization. And my mom was a high school principal. And early Saturday morning, I would hear the debates about the school politics and the pressures that the local schools were under from district office, mandates. And so Saturday mornings, I wanted to sleep in, but I was awakened by these passionate debates from two passionate people. And so I feel like a lot of my leadership skill and talent, it's been developed through practice, but also absorbed through osmosis with these two. So happy to see everybody again.
Thank you, Carlos. Marissa, do you want to try again real quick?
Yes.
Yay. Okay.
Perfect. So my name is Marissa Martinez, and I'm at East Aurora District 131. This is my last, well, we still have one more semester with summer semester with Dr. Spellman. So we're so looking forward to that, maybe shortly sooner. I just think your class really kind of set the precedent for what North Central's expectation was. So I think we all learned a lot. And I also have to say that Mr. Professor A, we were his first class, so we will take that, because we got to see him on his first experience with us at North Central. So I remember he was very excited and, kind of gave us a nice, because he was new and we were all kind of new to the program. So it was a sense of relief where we didn't feel a lot of pressure. Like we felt the pressure, but it just felt nice that we had somebody new to the profession because we were all nervous. I think we still are. So, but other than that, I think the program's going really well.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, let's go back to our little bit of business, and then we'll be able to go on. And the best part of the meeting, of course, is going to be talking to our guest speakers. So just a little bit of information for those of you that may not have been with us before. Julie Carballo is actually our Assistant Dean of Students for First Generation, and she also takes care of all the military affiliated initiatives. And I will be sending you a copy of these slides, so you don't have to worry about taking this down. But just that you know that we have a whole First Gen Center. You know, the offices are in Siebert Hall, which is the very, very north end of campus. There's a place there for people who come on campus to study and relax. There is a way to follow on social media. We know that there's also some other information there and a couple of different websites and things and links, but just so that you know a little bit about the woman who's behind all this and started the first generation work at North Central at the undergrad level quite a few years ago, and has been able to really steer us to getting a lot of national awards and a lot of recognition for that. So I think, Tatiana, these are your slides.
Yes, I can go ahead. North Central has the Tri Alpha Honor Society that recognizes and celebrates academic achievement for first generation students, something that you all should know about. The induction ceremony actually will take place on Tuesday, April 15th at 6:30 p.m. And there you can get a cord. Those would be on sale for May as well as December. So it's a really nice ceremony where you are recognized for your achievements. And on the next slide, would you be able to? Okay. So some of the requirements include being a current graduate candidate, having completed 9 credit hours towards the degree, and really having an overall GPA of at least 3.5 in all graduate level coursework. So, and also you would have to come from a family where neither parent nor step parents or any legal guardians earned a bachelor's degree. It's definitely an accomplishment being a first generation graduate student. I could definitely speak from my experience. You know, my parents, their biggest goal was to make sure that my sister and I were able to have certain opportunities that they didn't have. And you know, both my parents are deceased, but they both migrated from the Middle East, from Jordan and Palestine. And it's an honor for me to carry their legacy and really carry their, you know, what they provided for us and to really celebrate what I've accomplished. I was a part of the ceremony and it's really beautiful. Definitely consider being a part of this. It's something great to be a part of. And I think it's great that North Central has this.
Thanks, Tatiana. And I think, Isabella, you're going to talk about the pinning ceremony?
Yeah. So when you finally finish the program and you are pretty much there and about to do your awesome graduation ceremony, there is a recognition ceremony. It's called the Cardinal First Graduation Recognition and Pinning. That's going to take place this year, Friday, May 2nd. And then pretty much what it is that the first generation will be granted this pin that they get to wear. And the best part about it is that you get to choose a faculty or staff member that really made an impact on you to be the one that pins it. So it's almost like a little like connection between you and the professor. So for all those of you who are praising Dr. Spellman, you can do this for her and show her the appreciation while she shows you her appreciation. And then that's the contact email if you want more details, because for this one, they didn't have a time or location chosen yet. So if you're graduating in May and you would like to be a part of it, that's the email to reach out to.
Thank you. And Meredith, you're going to talk a little bit about our Writing Center?
Yeah, so there is a Writing Center that is available to graduate students. You can make an appointment to go in physically to meet with somebody, or you can meet with somebody online. The tutors offer their experience and guidance. They're trained and they've worked in the Writing Center, and they're also current graduate students, which is nice. And then if you would like to set up an appointment or want to see any of their resources, there's a link here that you can get more information. If you do want to schedule an appointment, you're going to need to click on Writing Center. And again, this is for asynchronous or in-person writing tutoring sessions.
Thank you. And as I mentioned, we're going to send these out to all of you. So these slides, so you'll be able to click on the links. And if you have any questions, let us know. But now the best part of the evening is we have a guest speaker. We have Dr. Carlos Escoitia, and senior. And he was a first-gen student. He's going to tell you a little bit about his journey. He was a classroom teacher. He was a principal. You can see he moved up in public schools as deputy chief of education. He returned to the community that he had started working in and became the founding principal of an elementary and community links high school in Little Village. He had quite a bit of responsibility overseeing so many schools when he was interim chief of Midway Network. And he was also appointed to the Board of Education. And he is, I think I have a mistake here. I say he currently serves as a distinguished professor of practice in educational leadership, but he actually serves as a distinguished professor emeritus at National LUA. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Escoitia to tell you his story, a little bit about his journey.
Thank you. Thank you, Maureen. What a wonderful meeting this is. I've heard so many things which I connect to, from the educators in ed leadership to the Chicago Public Schools, social and emotional development. I mean, all of these things connect very much to my whole experience. So let me just start by sharing some biographical data. Here I am doing my first communion in first grade in Cuba, where I was born, and I lived the first 9 years of my life. And to the right, I was in high school there in San Juan, Puerto Rico. And this is all part of what I want to share with you. But let me start. Having been born in Cuba, my grandparents emigrated to Cuba from a section in northern Spain called the Basque Country. It covers northern Spain and a section in southern France. It's a different language. They are all Spanish speakers, but their native language is Basque. They are very autonomous people. For a period of time, they wanted independence from Spain, but not anymore. I still have some relatives there. And that's where my grandparents came from. So I've been there several times. And the last name, Escoitia, is the name of a city in that whole area, very next to Loyola, where St. Ignatius of Loyola was born. So that's that background. My father married my Cuban mother. She was one of 9 children. And she finished elementary school, but then had to help her mother, with the brothers and sisters. My grandfather was a police officer in Cuba. And as you know, when you have a big family, police officers did not make a lot of money. So she really had to help, in the house and all of that. My father went to high school, but he attended the School of Gastronomy in Cuba. So that means he was raised in the restaurant and bar business. So I know we have a bartender in the group, which is good to know because there are a lot of learning experiences when you're a bartender. And it also connects to my experience because my father was in the restaurant business in Cuba and then in San Juan. These 2 pictures was our point of entry. We were immigrants in New York when we left, and I was 9 years old. This little guy to the right with a suit, and that's the scenery there, the skyline in New York City. But that was the point of entry as immigrants. We lived there for about a year and a few months. I went to public school there, and I didn't know English, but I had a good foundation in my native language. I was a good reader. So even though I didn't speak English, I still won some of the spelling bees because Spanish is very phonetic, and in that regard, you can learn how to spell very fast. So that was an experience in adapting to that. I used to play a sport as a little kid in Cuba called Cuban squash. So when I moved to New York, I had a park very close to my house, and I used to play like racquetball. I knew the racket very well, and I used to win all of those games. So one of my uncles was living in Puerto Rico. He was a Jesuit priest, and he told my parents, Puerto Rico is very similar to Cuba, and you can move here, and you know people become American citizens. So we moved to Puerto Rico, and that's where we opened up a family restaurant. But go to the next pictures because we have family here. That's me. If you don't believe it, that's still me. That's my son there, uh, my daughter, my wife, and the baby of the family. So they are all married now, and those are our 8 grandchildren that we have, and we meet with them frequently. Everybody is in the Chicago area. So I wanted to say that because family has been part of my whole emphasis in everything that I have done. And I'm a firm believer that the greatest influence on the student is the family, and the greatest influence on the family is the community. So if all schools work within that trilogy, it's the quality of the classroom, is the connection to the family, and then the connection in which your community, whether it's your immediate community, your faith community, your family community, it's very important. So let's go to the next one. So I went to in Puerto Rico. I was in 6th grade, I think, when I was there, and then I went to a Catholic school that was pre-K through high school, and we had nuns from Michigan and priests from Spain. So you had to follow a bilingual mode of operation, and I think I became bilingual within that setting. Um, and then I graduated from there and went to the University of Puerto Rico for my undergraduate degree, which was in social sciences, and I majored in sociology. And in my senior year, there was an opportunity to come to Chicago through the Illinois State Scholarship Commission. They had a teacher shortage at that time in the mid 70s. And they said, well, if you have a BA and you speak another language, you can start as a substitute and you can work full time and then do an MED degree. And that's when I applied to National College of Education to do an MED degree, become certified, and then I took the administrative courses. So in my senior year, I told my college sweetheart, I think we should get married and move to Chicago. And the rest is history. So we finished our BAs and we moved to Chicago. I went to Northern Illinois University for my doctorate in educational leadership. And then my career started in the Chicago Public Schools. Let's go to the next frame, Maureen. So I've been in the Chicago Public Schools my whole professional career. I was a 7th and 8th grade teacher, and I did this for about 8 or 9 years, and then started my administrative career in the Department of Career and Vocational Education at that time, trying to provide opportunities for students so they could have a balance in high schools between academics and work preparation. As I was a 7th and 8th grade teacher, I also volunteer in the Park District, very close to my school, teaching English and GED. At that time, many of the parents were immigrants. It was a community that was changing at the time. Now it's Bucktown, but at that time, it wasn't an expensive community. It was like a point of entry for many families. And many times the parents were saying some of the difficulties they were encountering, in their homes. They were not kept, discrimination, a lot of issues. And I think all of that molded my whole commitment to community schools and how important it is it's the quality of the classroom, but it's what happens also outside the classroom that has an impact. And the essence of a community school, if you take a look at three elements, would be your core instructional program, your extended day, and then all the social supports that you can get with partnerships. And I think that started when I was a teacher, teaching this particular class to adults, and they were concerned about safety, about gangs, about discrimination, about things that were unjust in their lives. And they were looking for some resources as new immigrants, and they were working in our factories and all of that. So after that, I became a principal at John Spry Community School in Little Village. We had 1,600 students. It was a kindergarten through eighth grade, pre-kinder through eighth grade. And I did this 5 years, and again began to develop this whole concept of a very strong community school. Everybody walked to school. We were overcrowded. Our average class size was 36, 37 at the time. So we developed a lot of advocacy to get new schools built in the neighborhood. So that was such a great experience with the large school and all of those elements. And I was recruited to go to central office by the superintendent we had at the time. Her name was R.G. Johnson. She had come from New York City. And she asked me if I could head the Office of School Reform. And I said if she could wait several months because it was summer and I needed to get the school ready, especially a big school. And I wanted to meet with my whole school community, with all the teachers and all the parents before I made the move. And then I made the move to central office to really take a look at some school reform initiatives at the time. We're talking about small schools. We're talking about more school autonomy, the role of local school councils, which were my allies when I was a principal and could be such an important element in what you do in your school. So I did that and moved to central office. Then the city and the mayor took over the schools. And we had a difference of opinion at that time because they didn't want the Office of School Reform to head it. They said, oh, no, we're the new reformers. And then I became the director of school and community relations. And at the time, we had a CEO, which was Paul Vallis. And I did that. And then he asked me to be the deputy chief of education in the schools. And I did that. So we had the CEO, we had the chief academic officer, and I was the third one. And as you know, that was a big responsibility, 600 schools. And I had several departments, and I did that for about 7 years. So after serving with Arne Duncan for 2 years, I had also kept in contact with my school where I was a principal, and I told them that I would go back. I really wanted to go back to a community setting because that's where the difference and the action takes place. And there was an opportunity to go back to the same school, and I approached the system. I wanted to do that. I approached the school, and the council, but I wanted to do something different. I wanted to convert the school into a pre-K through high school model because many of our students, when they went elsewhere, were not being successful. And I said, if we have a small high school called Community Links, this is a pre-K through high school. And I moved there with the objective of 100% graduation and 100% post-secondary. And I graduated 2 classes. I was about 97, 98%. We had partnerships with universities and community colleges. I serve a lot of undocumented students. So we also had to do some fundraising because they didn't qualify for any loans. So we did a lot of alliances to do that. And after that, it was time that I qualified to leave CPS for retirement, and I had applied. I wasn't planning to retire in that same year, but I applied to a position in educational leadership at National Louis University, and I was hired. And then I had to decide whether I would leave the school district. I had worked 33 years, or I would accept this position. Then I became a professor there for full-time for 11 years. I still teach 1 class per year, and I mentor and coach a few beginning principals in the Chicago Public Schools, which I currently do. So that gives you this whole history. Now, after I retire, it hasn't ended. I was appointed to the school board for 2.5 years. Not because I knew the mayor, but I knew one of his assistants who asked me if I could do this so I could bring this community schools perspective. And I did that. And then I took care of the Midway network of schools, all the way from Western to Harlem, close to Midway Airport. And they told me, well, for 3 months until we recruit someone, but it lasted a year. I also did it in Pilsen and Little Village. And I believe a lot in civic engagement. So I'm still engaged in the Coalition of Community Schools as a steering committee member. And I'm a member of the Chi Arts School Board, Chicago High School for the Arts. And I was connected to Northeastern Illinois University, and we have one graduate here where I served as a trustee for 16 years, and I chair that board for 8. So that gives you that history. But now let's go to this first generation experience, which would be the last slide here. I think I learned 2 things. From my father, I learned the value of hard work when you're in the restaurant business. My father expected, I have 2 brothers. So I'm the middle brother, and my older brother, we work 7 days a week. My brother gravitated more to the kitchen, and I gravitated to the bar. So that's where I have learned a lot of the stuff, because as you know, if you're there, you talk to people, you listen to people, and you communicate. And when my students at the university ask me, where have you learned communication skills? Well, even though throughout by experiences they all count, but working in my father's restaurant, because you learn socially how to really connect to people in many ways when you work. So my father never expected us not to leave university, but he always prioritized work. My mother taught us our social conscience. My mother, before Castro, was against, because there was a dictatorship, and was always teaching us about that. She comes from a mixed race family, always taught about a little bit about discrimination. If Cuba was settled by Spaniards, she said, well, they had a colonizing mentality. So I learned that. And so it was that hard work. my father wanted me and my brother to keep our business once he left. So if I would have left the university before graduating, he said, "Oh, you can take over." But I never did that because I started working early, and it was an experience that I said, I don't want to do this all my life. So that's why I continued and I moved to Chicago. Um, so I think you have a mix here of this work and the social conscience, which has connected me also being immigrants to the work that I have done with community schools, being of service to others. And now we're very proud that I have a son who's a principal, a daughter that you saw in the picture. She's a high school counselor. The youngest one majored in business, and she has three little boys, but she married a CPS high school English teacher. So we're all connected in many ways. And I just want to open now for questions and answers of those experiences that I've shared with you, or anything else that you would like me to share with you. I want to thank you all for listening to my story.
Any questions?
I have one. What do you do for fun? Because in that talk, you retired 62,000 times, but then started work somewhere else the next day. So I don't believe that you've ever fully retired, sir.
Preach, Chantal.
That's very true, and I don't think I will ever fully retire. I think it's always now, I work part-time now, because when I mentor and coach principals, we're talking about maybe two or three, and I teach one class per year, but I'm also a tennis player. So during my spare time, I play like 5 days a week, 4 days a week. So I try to combine all of that. Plus, we have 8 grandchildren, so that keeps us busy. 3 of them are Chicago Public Schools, so I picked them up from school yesterday. My daughter asked me to do this. I meet frequently with my son. He recruits me to be a presenter at his classes. So we're still engaged with all of that. I'm mentoring one principal right after this. And then I have an online meeting. It's a national meeting with the community of Cubans who are all Democrats. And I meet with them and we talk about the things we're going through, especially immigrants in this country. And we talk about equity and discrimination and all of that.
So really retired, yeah.
So it's been a good life and it's a learning experience, and I'm very thankful, and I always express my gratitude wherever I go, especially to the community that I served, because they embraced this concept of a pre-K through high school, because we never think of schools to meet community needs. We always have the same model for everybody. And yet, both parents work at different shifts. They work downtown, they clean our windows, they're landscapers. And the fact that they were having all their kids, their children in one school for the ones who wanted to stay in high school, because that was just an option, a neighborhood option. But many of them did that. And then I changed that model around. I made it year-round, the high school, because you don't need high school students for 2.5 months without doing a lot of stuff. That's where many of them didn't go back, especially after they turned 16. So you could graduate earlier, but you had to attend summer school to get graduation credits. And you still have some vacation, but you would do it in 3 years and 3 summers. And I graduated 2 classes and it was like 97, 98%. So it just shows you that with the right motivation, with the right parent engagement, family engagement, when a school becomes involved in taking a look at the quality of life in a community, and you can only do that with the right partnerships, then people begin to trust the school and the people who work there. And then what happens? Your educational agenda becomes stronger. Our achievement increased at the time. Well, at that time, we used to take the ISAT, the state test, and all of that. And I think we saw great progress. And I'm still connected to that community. I still visit them a few times per year. I meet with our crossing guard, who's now 98 years old. Some of the neighborhood residents who took care of our building. If something was happening, they would call me at home at night. So the Chicago Public Schools have been part of this career. My three children attended Chicago Public Schools, our neighborhood public school. So it's been a blessing. Any other questions that you might have, or anything else that you want to share about anything I have said, or how they connect to your experience?
I just think you're inspiring, being a product of Chicago Public Schools myself and moving to lots of schools as a child because my parents, immigrated to the U.S. at a very young age. They always were involved in my schooling, always trying to get me to the best schools, moving from one school to the next. I mean, I never really stayed in a school for much longer than a few years. But it was always my parents, their support, their drive. My mom would, she was limited in English herself, but she still joined the PTA and went to parent teacher conferences and things like that. And so, I'm sure you're a great motivator for your children, just the way that, my immigrant parents motivated me to be my best self. And like Chantel said, I feel like I don't think as teachers, as educators, we're never going to fully retire. I feel like we always have to be connected to the community, because that's our passion. And I thank you for that. And I feel like we're all in the same boat somehow,
Oh, it's so good to hear that. And I'm glad it connected to that experience. Yeah, my parents really never learned English to be fluent. I mean, they learned separate things. As immigrants, they went to school. I remember being in New York. But your last name, I have a very close friend, Okab Hassan, who's the principal in one of the Midway network of
Yeah,
schools.
I don't know him. I know my sister-in-law, I mean, there's no relation. Her last name is Hassan, and she worked at that school. But yeah, I know who
He's
you're talking about. I never
Palestinian.
met him, but I know who he is.
His
Yeah,
daughter was
nice.
actually our science teacher at one point,
Uh-huh.
Jamila. Yeah.
So Hassan is a very popular last name. It means good.
It
That's
is,
what
it
it
is.
means.
Yeah.
But my sister-in-law is a teacher, and my husband's two sisters are teachers. So
So when I'm there, I meet with him
mhm,
and we have lunch together. And I've known him for many, many years.
mhm. And it's Ramadan, so we're fasting. So
Yeah, I know. And he
yeah,
always tells
we always
me,
have a long day.
he always tells me, you look like my Palestinian cousin.
Yeah.
Always tells me that.
Yeah.
Other questions or other comments that you might have?
I know that this has been a delightful experience for all of us, and we want to honor everyone's time. So I just want to thank you so very much for sharing your journey and sharing your enthusiasm and just all the joy that you still get from this profession. And I want to thank your son for recommending you to me, because I reached out to him and said, I'd like to be the speaker for the First Gen program. So eternally grateful to both Carlos Jr. and Carlos Sr. So delighted that I see so many of my darlings on the screen. And since it's about 2 minutes to 5, and I think some of you have things to do, I'm just going to say thank you so very much. And it's been a delight. It's been a very good evening.
Thank you for inviting me, and I'll see some of you maybe in class. I know you've been in the class before, so I know my son already recruited me for April 9th.
There we go. All right. Have a great evening, everyone, and thank you
Thank
again.
you.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
very much. Good night.
See you April 9th.